The night sky above Earth looked calm, quiet, and endless. Billions of stars twinkled, but humanity did not know that those stars were watching back. Far away, across the galaxy, powerful alien empires whispered about Earth. To them, humanity was nothing. A weak species, trapped on a small blue planet, still fighting among themselves. The galaxy mocked Earth as insignificant. A joke. A dust speck civilization not worth notice. But everything changed the night a signal came. It was faint, broken, filled with static. At first, scientists thought it was only noise from deep space. But as hours passed, the pattern became clear. Someone, or something, was calling for help. A desperate voice, not human, not earthborn. A single plea carried across the stars. The message repeated again and again. Help, they are coming, we cannot stop them. No one knew who sent it. No one knew what they meant. But one thing was clear, whoever had spoken was terrified. And if such a powerful species could feel fear, then Earth was not as safe as people believed. In a hidden observatory in the mountains, Dr. Elias Stone, an old radio astronomer, listened in silence. His hands shook as he replayed the recording. This was not a hoax. This was real. Someone out there was dying, begging for help, and Earth was the only one who had heard them. The news spread fast. Governments tried to hide it, but the recording leaked online. Within days, millions listened to the strange alien voice. Some laughed. Some dismissed it as fake. But others felt a chill run through their bones. The voice was too real. Too raw. It carried terror no machine could fake. The galaxy thought Earth was too small to matter. But now humanity faced a choice. Ignore the call and remain a forgotten world, or answer and step into the darkness of the unknown. For weeks, leaders argued. Some said Earth should stay silent. Why risk attention? Why invite danger? But others asked a question no one could ignore. If we do nothing, will the same monsters one day come for us? The world was divided, but ordinary people were not. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, and even farmers felt something awaken inside them. For the first time, humanity looked beyond their wars, beyond their borders. They were no longer Americans, Chinese, Russians, or Africans. They were human. And someone out there needed them. The first ship was built in secret. It was not beautiful, not graceful like the vessels of alien empires. It was raw steel, engines bolted together with desperate speed. But when it roared into the sky, the ground shook and the people cheered. Humanity had taken its first step into the wider galaxy. Not to explore, not to conquer, but to answer a call for help. The voyage was long. The ship, named Valiant Dawn, carried only a small crew. Each of them knew they might never return. Supplies were limited. Weapons were primitive compared to what other civilizations surely possessed. But inside their hearts burned a fire that no alien empire could understand. As they traveled deeper into space, the signal grew stronger. The broken plea guided them like a ghostly beacon. The words were clearer now. They come, endless, devourers. The crew exchanged fearful glances. What enemy could make entire civilizations beg for help? What force could be so terrifying that mighty alien species sent their last cries into the void? Finally, after months of travel, they reached the source. It was not a shining city. Not a grand alien empire. It was wreckage. Dead worlds. Burnt husks of planets floating in silence. The signal came from a shattered station, broken in half, drifting near the orbit of a ruined star. The crew approached slowly, hearts pounding. Lights flickered weakly from the station's remains. Inside, they found bodies, not human, but alien, with long limbs and scaled skin. They had fought bravely, but they had lost. Only one still breathed, barely alive. His eyes widened when he saw the humans. His cracked lips whispered a final warning. They will come for you too. And then he died. Silence filled the ship. No one spoke. Outside the windows, the stars seemed darker, colder. Humanity had stepped into the galaxy, and already they had found death. But fear did not break them. It hardened them. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, the galaxy would learn what it meant when humanity mobilized. For the first time in history, humans stood together as one. Not for conquest, not for glory, but for survival. And far away, beyond the edge of known space, something ancient stirred. Something hungry. And it had already noticed Earth. The body of the dying alien still lay in the ruined station. His last words echoed in the minds of the human crew, "They will come for you too." No one on the ship spoke for a long time. Captain Reyes, leader of the valiant Dawn, stared at the broken stars outside the window. Her heart was heavy, but her voice was steady. "We take this message back," she said. "Earth must know. We cannot fight what we do not understand." The crew nodded. But deep inside, each of them felt the same dread. Something powerful had destroyed entire civilizations. And now, Earth had been noticed. On the way back, the valiant Dawn carried not only the recording of the aliens' warning but also fragments of strange technology found inside the station. Broken weapons, shattered data cores, pieces of armor melted by unimaginable heat. The scientists on board worked day and night, trying to unlock the secrets. One engineer, Malik Khan, held up a piece of blackened metal. "This wasn't destroyed by plasma," he whispered. "This was eaten. Something burned through this like acid." The word "eaten" spread through the crew like poison. No one wanted to believe it, but all the evidence pointed to the same truth. Whatever enemy had come, they were not conquerors. They were devourers. Back on Earth, when the ship finally returned, the world was no longer laughing. The footage of dead planets, wrecked stations, and the last alien's warning spread across every screen. Fear gripped humanity, but something stronger also took root: determination. For the first time, Earth's governments united under a single council. Old rivals sat at the same table. Generals who once planned wars against each other now planned survival. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant, but Earth was no longer the same. Factories roared to life. Scientists worked without sleep. Soldiers trained harder than ever before. The world poured its resources into building fleets, weapons, and defenses. Humanity was no longer waiting for the enemy. They were preparing. But the enemy was already moving. At the edge of a distant star system, alien scouts drifted in silence. Their forms were nothing like humans. Not machines, not flesh, something in between. They were the swarm. Endless, hungry, without mercy. They consumed everything they touched: metal, stone, living creatures, even energy itself. To them, planets were not homes. They were food. The swarm's leaders did not speak. They did not reason. They only sensed. And now, they sensed a new world glowing in the darkness. A fresh world. A blue planet rich with life. Earth. On Earth, rumors spread. Some whispered that the swarm could not be stopped. That resistance was useless. But others told a different story. Humanity had always been underestimated. For centuries, stronger empires, greater armies, and crueler tyrants had tried to break them. Yet humans had always survived. They had always fought back, even against impossible odds. Dr. Elias Stone, the old astronomer who first heard the signal, spoke before the new Earth Council. His voice was thin, but his words carried power. "The galaxy sees us as small," he said. "But they do not know our history. We are a species that has lived through fire and storm. We are survivors. If the swarm comes, then let the stars themselves tremble, for they will learn what it means to fight humanity." His words lit a fire in every heart. The first fleets were launched into orbit. Not sleek, not perfect but strong. Battleships, carriers, and defense platforms rose into the skies. Humanity was learning faster than any alien empire thought possible. The broken technology recovered from the alien station gave humans new ideas, new weapons, They adapted, improved, and transformed weakness into strength. Still, fear remained. Every night, people looked at the stars, wondering when the darkness would arrive. Children dreamed of shadows with teeth. Soldiers kissed their families goodbye, not knowing if they would ever return. And then, one night, the signal came again. Not a cry for help. Not a warning. A presence. A sound like 1,000 voices whispering together. The crew of Earth's orbital defense station froze as their speakers filled with static and hissing words. "We have found you." The room went silent. Faces turned pale. The swarm had spoken. Not with hope. Not with fear. With hunger. Alarms blared across Earth. Satellites detected movement at the edge of the solar system. Something vast, something endless was coming. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, Earth would stand. And humanity would fight. The words from the swarm echoed across Earth's command centers. "We have found you." The signal spread fear like fire. In underground bunkers, generals stared at maps of the solar system. Satellites confirmed the truth. Shadows were moving at the edge of space. Dozens, then hundreds of massive shapes drifted closer. Not ships built with steel and design, but living machines, alive and terrible. Humanity's first war in the stars had begun. Captain Reyes, now commander of Earth's defense fleet, stood aboard the flagship Valiant Dawn. The ship had been rebuilt, stronger, armed with weapons never before seen. Around her stretched hundreds of human vessels, destroyers, carriers, even old cargo ships turned into war machines. They were not perfect. They were not elegant. But they were human. On Earth below, billions watched through screens, holding their breath. Soldiers kissed their families goodbye. Factories worked without rest. Children prayed to skies they had once thought were peaceful. The first contact came near Pluto's orbit. A swarm scout appeared, an insect-like vessel with wings of black crystal. It moved with unnatural speed, silent, deadly. Human ships locked weapons on it, but before they fired, the alien craft split into smaller fragments, darting in every direction. Missiles streaked across the void. Explosions lit up the darkness. When the smoke cleared, the alien was gone. Cheers erupted. Humanity had scored its first kill. But the celebration died quickly. Sensors showed hundreds more incoming. The real swarm had arrived. The battle was chaos. Human ships unleashed everything: missiles, railguns, experimental plasma cannons. The sky burned with fire. For every alien destroyed, 3 more appeared. The swarm ships moved like predators, weaving, striking, consuming metal as if it were food. Inside the Valiant Dawn, alarms screamed. Hulls cracked. Pilots cried out over radios before their signals were swallowed by static. "Hold the line," Reyes shouted. Her crew obeyed, firing again and again. The flagship's cannons roared, tearing through alien bodies. But even as the swarm fell, Reyes knew, they were only testing Earth's strength. The true wave had not yet come. Down on Earth, panic spread. Cities went dark as power was redirected to the defense grid. Giant cannons rose from hidden bunkers. The council broadcast a single message to the people. "We fight, not for conquest, but for survival. Humanity stands together. Humanity will not kneel." The world held its breath. And then, something happened that no one expected. Another signal cut across the battle. Not from Earth. Not from the swarm. From the void itself. A voice, calm, steady, and alien. "To the humans of Earth, your fight is not yours alone." Reyes froze. Her crew stared at each other in shock. The message continued. "We are the Kareth. We once mocked you as weak. But we see now, you fight where others hide. We will aid you." Moments later, strange ships emerged from hyperspace. Sleek, silver, shaped like blades of light. The Kareth were one of the older alien races, long known to ignore the cries of others. But now, for reasons no one understood, They had come to fight beside humanity. Their weapons cut through swarm ships like fire through paper. Beams of pure energy tore the dark apart. For the first time, the humans were not alone. The tide shifted. Together, humans and Kareth pushed the swarm back, away from Pluto's orbit. The void filled with wreckage. Silence returned, for now. But everyone knew the truth. The swarm had only tested Earth. The real war was still coming. After the battle, Captain Reyes met the Kareth commander through hologram. His face was sharp, his eyes glowing silver. He looked at her with something no alien had ever given a human before: respect. "You should not have survived," he said. "And yet, you did. The swarm will return in greater numbers. You cannot face them alone. But perhaps, together, we can stand." Reyes nodded. "Then let's stand." On Earth, people cheered. Humanity had won its first battle among the stars. But deep inside, everyone felt the same fear. The swarm had endless numbers, endless hunger. And this was only the beginning. Far beyond the edge of the solar system, hidden in the black, something vast opened its eyes. A mother of the swarm. A creature the size of a moon. It turned its gaze toward Earth. The galaxy had mocked humanity as insignificant. But now, the galaxy was watching. And the war for survival had only just begun. The wreckage of the first great battle still floated near Pluto's orbit. Human ships drifted among shattered swarm bodies, pulling survivors from burning hulls. For the first time in history, humanity had fought a war beyond Earth, and lived. But the victory felt hollow. The swarm had not been defeated. They had only been delayed. In the War Council chambers on Earth, leaders, generals, and scientists gathered. Holograms of destroyed ships hovered above the table. Captain Reyes stood at the center, her uniform burned and torn from battle. The Kareth commander's glowing silver eyes watched her from across the projection. "They will not stop," he said. "The swarm is endless. For every one you kill, 10 more rise. You cannot defend your planet forever. You must strike first." The room fell silent. Humanity had always fought with walls, with defenses. To attack the swarm in their own space seemed impossible. But Reyes understood the truth. Waiting would only mean death. Dr. Elias Stone spoke softly, his old voice trembling. "We were mocked as small. If we wait, we will be crushed. But if we strike, perhaps we show the galaxy that humans are not prey." The decision was made. Humanity would go on the offensive. Factories thundered day and night. New ships rolled out of shipyards, bigger, stronger, armed with hybrid weapons built from both human and Kareth technology. Plasma cannons. Railguns the size of skyscrapers. Energy shields copied from alien designs. The fleet grew, and with it, a new hope was born. People of Earth watched as the armadas launched. Every screen carried the same message: humanity will not wait for death. Humanity will fight. The counterattack began. The human Kareth fleet jumped into swarm territory, guided by the coordinates taken from the wrecked station where the dying alien had given his last warning. The void they entered was different. Darker, colder, filled with broken worlds. Stars dimmed where the swarm had passed. And then they saw it. A feeding ground. An entire planet, once alive, now nothing but a husk. The swarm covered its surface like crawling insects. They were devouring oceans, mountains, even the very crust of the world. Reyes clenched her fists. Fire. The fleet unleashed everything. Missiles screamed through the void. Energy beams cut across the black sky. Explosions shook the swarm hives below. The planet's surface cracked under the fury. For a moment, it seemed possible, humanity was striking back. But the swarm responded. From beneath the planet's surface, massive creatures rose into orbit. Not ships. Living weapons, with wings of metal and teeth that could slice steel. Their screeches echoed across comms, freezing blood in every soldier's veins. The battle that followed was unlike anything Earth had ever faced. Human ships moved in tight formations, Kareth blades of light weaving between them. Together they fought, destroying swarm creatures one after another. The void burned with fire and blood. But then the mother appeared. A shadow larger than a moon rose from the depths of the planet. Its body was alive with glowing scars, its many eyes burning with hunger. It opened its maw, and a wave of energy swept across space, crushing ships like toys. The valiant Dawn shook violently as alarms screamed. Shields failing. Malik Khan shouted from engineering. Sparks rained down. The crew fought to keep the ship alive, firing everything they had at the monstrous creature. Reyes stood tall, refusing to retreat. If Earth is to survive, we must show them we can face even this. The Kareth commander's ships darted forward, striking the mother with beams of light. Human missiles followed, tearing into its massive body. The beast roared, thrashing, destroying dozens of ships. But humanity did not break. They pressed harder. Every pilot, every gunner, every engineer gave everything they had. The sky lit with fury. Finally, with one last strike, a combined barrage of human railguns and Kareth energy beams pierced the creature's skull. Its roar shook the stars, then silence fell as the monster collapsed into the void, drifting lifeless among the wreckage. The fleet cheered. Humanity had faced the unthinkable, and won. But Reyes did not celebrate. She stared at the lifeless husk of the swarm mother, her heart heavy. "This was only one," she whispered. "There are more. Many more." Far across the galaxy, hidden in endless darkness, other swarm mothers stirred. They had felt the death of one of their own. And their hunger grew. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, whispers spread across alien empires. The humans had done the impossible. They had killed what no one else dared to fight. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt something new. Hope. The swarm mother's corpse drifted in the void, a dead shadow against the stars. Humanity had achieved the impossible. Across Earth, people cheered, celebrated, and raised their flags together. For the first time in history, humans were not fighting each other. They were fighting as one. But Captain Reyes did not celebrate. She knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. In the War Council, holograms of dozens of alien leaders now filled the chamber. The death of the swarm mother had spread like fire through the galaxy. Empires that once mocked Earth were now paying attention. Some with awe, some with fear, some with jealousy. The Kareth commander stood beside Reyes, silver eyes glowing. "You have done what no other world dared," he said. "But the swarm is endless. If you fight alone, you will burn." One by one, the alien leaders spoke. Some offered alliance. Some offered trade, weapons, and technology. But not all voices were friendly. The Sholtek, an insect-like empire of sharp wings and armor, sneered. "Humans are reckless. Their victory was luck. If the swarm consumes them, why should we waste our fleets? Better for us to wait. Let the humans bleed." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some agreed with the Sholtek. Others argued. The galaxy had always been divided, and even with the swarm at their door, unity was fragile. Reyes stood and spoke. Her voice was steady, but her words cut like steel. "You call us reckless. You call us small. But while you hid, while you ignored cries for help, humanity fought. We bled, yes, but we survived. We do not ask for your pity. We ask for your courage. Stand with us, or one by one, you will fall." Her words struck deep. Some leaders lowered their eyes, ashamed. Others clenched their jaws, still unwilling. The council ended with no final decision. The galaxy was listening, but not yet united. That night, in secret, whispers of betrayal spread. Some alien empires feared that if humanity grew stronger, they would become a new threat after the swarm was gone. Already, spies and saboteurs moved in the shadows. Humanity had gained allies, but also enemies who wore friendly faces. Meanwhile, the swarm had not been idle. In the darkness between galaxies, their hives stirred. The death of one mother had awakened others. Larger, stronger, and older. They began to gather, not in hundreds, but in thousands. Their hunger sharpened, their whispers echoing across the void. Earth, Earth, Earth. On Earth, preparations grew faster. Entire cities became shipyards. Children learned to fight in simulators. Farmers turned their fields into supply lines for the armies. The planet had become a fortress, the beating heart of a new resistance. Dr. Elias Stone worked day and night with Kareth scientists, studying swarm corpses. Their biology was terrifying, but also full of secrets. They adapt to everything, he whispered to Reyes. Every weapon we use, they learn to resist. We must be faster, smarter, or we will lose. Reyes nodded. Humanity had always survived by adapting. That was their strength. But the galaxy still doubted. When the second swarm wave came, it was not toward Earth. It was toward another alien world, the Kalari homeworld, a shining planet of oceans and crystal towers. The Kalari had mocked humans as children playing with fire. But when the swarm descended, their defenses crumbled in days. The Kalari sent a desperate message to Earth. We were wrong. Help us. Please, help us. Reyes did not hesitate. She ordered the fleets forward. Humanity's armadas, alongside the Kareth, launched into hyperspace. When they arrived, the Kalari skies were already burning. Cities fell into the oceans. Swarm beasts clawed at the crystal towers. The planet screamed. The battle was chaos. Human and Kareth ships tore through the swarm, firing without pause. Kalari civilians fled in desperation, their leaders weeping as their proud empire crumbled. Humanity fought not for conquest, not for territory, but to save those who once mocked them. When the swarm was finally driven back, half the Kalari world lay in ruins. But it was not destroyed. The survivors looked up at the human fleets with awe. One Kalari leader, her crystal skin cracked, bowed to Reyes. We thought you were nothing. We were wrong. You carry fire where others carry fear. From this day, we stand with you. The galaxy watched. Humanity had saved those who mocked them. Their reputation grew. But far away, hidden among the stars, the Sholtek watched too. Their leaders whispered in secret. Let the humans fight. Let them bleed. When both humans and swarm are weak, then we shall rise. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, some called them saviors. Some called them fools. And the swarm still called them food. The galaxy was changing. Where once they mocked Earth, now entire worlds looked to humanity for hope. The humans had saved the Kalari, fought side by side with the Kareth, and stood against the swarm when no one else dared. But hope always has enemies. In the shadows of the council, the Sholtek whispered. Their leaders watched humanity grow stronger with every battle. They did not see saviors. They saw a rival. If humans rise, they will rule the galaxy, one Sholtek general hissed. Better to let the swarm destroy them, or help the swarm finish the job. And so the betrayal began. While humanity poured its strength into new fleets, Sholtek agents moved quietly. They sabotaged supply lines. They fed false coordinates to human scouts, leading them into traps. At first, the losses were blamed on the swarm. But soon, the truth became harder to ignore. Captain Reyes felt it in her bones. Something was wrong. The swarm is dangerous, she told her officers, but they are not clever. Someone else is moving against us. Dr. Elias Stone confirmed it. His team intercepted a coded signal. It was not swarm language. It was Sholtek. Proof of betrayal. The council exploded in fury when the evidence was shown. The Sholtek denied it, their insect wings snapping in anger. Lies, they spat. The humans twist the truth. They want to control us all. The chamber erupted in shouting. Old grudges rose. Alliances shook. For a moment, the galaxy seemed ready to break apart again. Reyes stood in the chaos. Her voice cut through the noise. While we argue, the swarm grows. While we point fingers, they sharpen their claws. If we fight each other, we are already dead. Some listened. Some did not. The council fractured, weaker than before. And that was when the swarm struck. A massive fleet of swarm ships appeared on the edge of human space, larger than anything yet seen. Among them was another mother, larger, older, glowing with dark energy. Its arrival sent fear across every screen on Earth. The humans and Kareth prepared to fight, but when they called for their new allies, the Kalari hesitated. Their world was still in ruins. Their people were weak. And the Sheltec? They sent no ships at all. Humanity stood nearly alone. The battle was brutal. The swarm descended like a storm. Human fleets burned, Kareth ships shattered, Earth's defenses shook. Reyes commanded the valiant Dawn, her voice steady even as fire consumed the sky. "Hold the line," she cried. "Earth is the heart. If the heart falls, we all fall." For every swarm ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. The mother's energy waves tore through entire squadrons. The void lit with explosions, screams, and silence. Malik Khan worked furiously in engineering, his hands covered in burns. "The shields won't hold. We need something stronger, something they can't adapt to." Dr. Stone's voice crackled over comms. "Use the new weapon. The prototype. It may be unstable, but it's all we have." Reyes made the choice. Do it. The humans had built a desperate weapon from swarm biology itself. A bomb that could turn their own hunger against them. As the swarm mother drew closer to Earth, the valiant Dawn carried the weapon into the heart of the enemy. Fighters cleared a path. Kareth blades of light cut open the swarm's defenses. The valiant Dawn plunged forward, shields failing, hull burning. Inside, the crew held their breath as the weapon was armed. And then, with a blinding flash, the bomb detonated. The swarm screamed. Their great mother convulsed, its massive body tearing apart from within. Ships around it shattered, consumed by the chain reaction. For a moment, the stars themselves seemed to burn. When the light faded, silence fell. The swarm mother was gone. The fleet was broken. Earth still stood. The humans had won again, but at a terrible cost. Half the fleet was destroyed. Thousands of lives lost. The valiant Dawn drifted, torn and broken. Captain Reyes survived, but her eyes were dark with exhaustion. On Earth, people cheered in relief. Across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. The humans had destroyed a second mother. Impossible. Unthinkable. Yet true. But in the council, the Sheltec only sneered. Let them bleed. The swarm will consume them in time. And when they fall, the galaxy will belong to us. Far in the darkness, deeper than any star, the swarm stirred again. More mothers. Older. Stronger. And behind them, something greater, something that even the swarm feared. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, they watched as Earth stood alone, betrayed and bloodied, yet unbroken. And the final storm was still to come. The stars were quiet, but it was the silence of a storm before it breaks. Humanity had won battles, destroyed 2 swarm mothers, and survived where others had fallen. But everyone knew the truth. The swarm was not finished. In hidden hives far beyond known space, the swarm gathered. Not hundreds. Not thousands. Millions. And behind them, something vast stirred, an ancient presence that had given birth to the swarm itself. A hunger older than the galaxy. On Earth, the people prepared for their final stand. Shipyards burned day and night, pouring out fleets as fast as they could be built. Soldiers trained without rest. Children looked to the skies, knowing the fate of their species would soon be decided. The Kareth stood with humanity. The Kalari, humbled and scarred, sent what little strength they had left. Even smaller races, once afraid, now offered help. The galaxy had begun to shift. But the Shultek did not come. Their leaders hid in their fortresses, waiting for humans to fall. Captain Reyes, scarred from countless battles, stood on the rebuilt Valiant Dawn. Her crew was smaller now, but their eyes burned with the same fire as hers. She looked at the fleets assembled above Earth, more ships than humanity had ever dreamed of. Yet still, not enough. Dr. Elias Stone, his hands trembling with age, worked with scientists on Earth's greatest weapon. It was not a cannon, not a bomb. It was something more dangerous, a weapon built from the swarm's own code of life, a signal that could tear apart their unity. If it works, Stone whispered, we strike at their mind. Break the will that binds them. Malik Khan led engineers in fitting the weapon onto the Valiant Dawn. The crew knew what it meant. To fire it, they would have to fly straight into the swarm's heart. The day came. Sensors screamed as the swarm appeared. Endless ships poured into the solar system, blotting out the stars. The sky itself seemed alive with wings, claws, and fire. At the center of it all, a shadow vast beyond imagination. The Ancient One. The First Mother. Its body was the size of a planet, covered in scars from ages of feeding. Its many eyes burned with endless hunger. It had consumed entire galaxies. Now, it had come for Earth. The battle began. Human and alien fleets roared forward. The void exploded with fire. Railguns cracked. Plasma beams tore across the black. Swarm ships screamed, swarming like locusts, ripping through defenses. The Kareth blades of light danced through the chaos, their ships cutting apart swarm beasts. The Kalari fought desperately to repay their debt. Human carriers launched wave after wave of fighters, pilots throwing their lives into the storm. But still, the swarm pressed closer. Earth shook under bombardment. Cities fell silent as orbital cannons overheated and failed. On the Valiant Dawn, Reyes made the call. We carry the weapon. We go in. The fleet cleared a path, sacrificing themselves one by one. The Valiant Dawn plunged into the heart of the swarm, surrounded on all sides. Hull plates ripped away. Fires spread through the corridors. Still, the ship pressed forward. Malik Khan shouted from engineering, engines failing. Stone whispered, closer. Just a little closer. Reyes gripped the controls. Ahead, the Ancient Mother's eye glared like a burning sun. Fire! The weapon unleashed its signal. A pulse of sound, light, and code spread across the void. It was not a weapon of destruction. It was a weapon of division. The swarm screamed. Their unity broke. Ships turned against each other, thrashing in confusion. The Great Mother roared, its control unraveling. For the first time, the swarm felt what it had never known before, fear. But the cost was terrible. The weapon overloaded. The Valiant Dawn shook itself apart. Fire consumed its decks. Reyes looked at her crew, at Malik, at Stone. They nodded silently. There was no escape. But there was victory. The ship exploded in a final blaze of light, carrying the weapon deep into the Mother's core. The ancient beast convulsed, its body tearing apart. With one last roar, it collapsed, breaking into ash and silence. The swarm scattered. Leaderless. Broken. For the first time in ages, the galaxy was free. On Earth, people wept and cheered. Across alien worlds, survivors looked to the sky with hope. Humanity had done the impossible. They had faced the endless swarm, and won. But the price was heavy. The Valiant Dawn was gone. Captain Reyes, Dr. Stone, Malik Khan, and countless others had given everything. A memorial was built in orbit above Earth, where their names shone against the stars. And beneath it, carved in steel, were words that echoed across the galaxy. Humanity answered the call. Humanity stood together. And the stars will never forget. The galaxy had mocked Earth as insignificant. Now, they feared their name. and they would remember it forever.